My mother-in-law had made tons of dumplings and stored them in the freezer. As soon as she left the house, I dumped all the dumplings into the trash. I didn't expect her to walk back in and catch me red-handed. She took a video and posted it in the family group chat, crying. I made dumplings for my daughter-in-law, and she threw all of them in the garbage. Why does she hate me so much? Before long, the entire family showed up at our house to lecture me. I cooked all the dumplings and served a bowl to each person. Halfway through eating, their expressions changed. Chapter 1. The moment I saw my mother-in-law post that video, I knew I was in trouble today. I immediately regretted being so impulsive. I should have waited until nightfall, when it was dark and quiet, and taken them outside to dump in the communal trash. Then no one would have found out. After posting her tearful accusation, my mother-in-law picked the dumplings out of the bin and brought them into the kitchen. I quietly brought over the freezer container and stood there while she carefully arranged the dumplings back in. Luckily, most of them were still intact. Only about a dozen had torn skins and leaking filling. She re-kneaded the dough, rolled out fresh wrappers, scooped out the filling, and repackaged them. I waited silently as she finished, then put the dumplings back in the freezer's deep freeze section. Her eyes stayed watery the whole time. I didn't say a word either. We completed the task in unspoken coordination. Then came a knock at the front door. She went to open it. Moments later, I heard her crying start again. My heart tightened, and then I heard my husband's older brother say, "Mom, don't cry. Where's Nicole?" My mother-in-law sobbed louder, sounding so aggrieved. I know Nicole doesn't like fatty meat, so I bought lean pork just for her. I got up at 4 this morning to start preparing, hand-rolled the wrappers, hand-chopped the filling, wrapped each dumpling one by one, worked for hours, my hands froze stiff. I didn't even have breakfast, just to finish them in time. And she didn't eat a single one. She threw them all away. What did I do wrong? Why does she hate me so much? Even if I offended her, the dumplings didn't. Why dump them in the trash? My brother-in-law sounded heartbroken. Don't be upset. Mom, where's Nicole? I'll go talk to her. Before she could reply, my sister-in-law's voice rang out. Nicole, get out here. My brother-in-law immediately barked at her. Watch your tone. That's your sister-in-law you're talking to. Ugh. She spat. Does she even deserve that title? No one's ever treated Mom like this in her whole life. She clearly doesn't care about this family. Nicole, come out. I heard her footsteps heading toward the kitchen. Chapter 2. My brother-in-law tried to pull his wife back. Babe, calm down. We're here to resolve things, not to argue. My eldest sister-in-law also spoke up. Nicole's busy in the kitchen. Let her finish. We'll talk when she comes out. But my younger sister-in-law raised her voice. What could she possibly be busy with? Mom does everything for her, cleans the house, cooks the meals. What's she doing that's so important? Nicole, come out and apologize to my mom. My brother-in-law snapped. That's enough. She shot back. Why shouldn't I speak up? She humiliated my mother. Am I supposed to treat her like royalty? Even if she's wrong, she's still your second sister-in-law. Let your second brother handle it when he gets back. My sister-in-law scoffed coldly. And you think my brother will stand up for Mom? He's totally whipped. If he really cared about her, would he let Nicole walk all over her like this? That's enough. My brother-in-law cut her off. Everyone sit down. I'll go call Nicole. He came into the kitchen and said, Nicole, come out and explain. Why did you throw the dumplings in the trash? If it's a blessing, it won't miss me. If it's a curse, I can't dodge it. Since I got caught, I had no choice but to face it. Bracing myself, I walked into the living room. My sister-in-law pointed at me and started yelling, Nicole, you tell me, what has my mom ever done to you? You were spoiled rotten at home, didn't even know how to cook. My brother works a demanding job and isn't home often. My mom felt bad for you. So after you got married, she moved in just to help out. She cooks 3 meals a day and brings them right to you. She sweeps, mops, does all the chores. She even washes your underwear. She practically worships you like some family shrine. What more do you want from her? How could you treat her like this? Chapter 3. My sister-in-law's belly was huge. She was 5 months pregnant. About to become a mother, yet still so hot-tempered. My older brother-in-law stepped in. Nicole, Mom knows you like dumplings. That's why she made them for you. She knew you don't like fatty meat, so she carefully cleaned each chive and bought lean pork. You don't like machine-ground meat? She chopped everything by hand. She's made dumplings her whole life. Everyone says her fillings are delicious. When you first came to our home, didn't you say they were amazing? That much was true. Back then, I really did think her dumplings were better than anything sold in town. He kept going. Mom says hand-rolled wrappers have better texture and flavor. She bought flour, kneaded it herself, rolled out every skin by hand. Then she wrapped them one by one. Where else can you eat dumplings made entirely by hand like that? Except from my mom? It's true, nowadays. Most dumplings sold outside use pre-made wrappers and factory fillings. My mother-in-law began to cry again. I was afraid you'd feel out of place after marrying into our family. I didn't want you to suffer. So I stayed with you, treated you like my own daughter. You don't like eating breakfast. I worried you'd starve or get sick. So I made all those dumplings and froze them. So you could just cook a bowl each morning. But you treated my kindness like garbage. What did I do wrong to make you this angry? Just tell me, I'll change. Sob, 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 sob. See? So-called explaining meant standing there and listening to them condemn me. They only cared about how kind my mother-in-law was. And how ungrateful I had been. Not a single person asked why I did what I did. Chapter 4. Just as I was about to speak, Julia jumped in again. Nicole, do you even have a conscience? My mom treated you so well, gave you her whole heart. How do you repay her? From the moment you met my brother until now, have you ever bought my mom even one piece of clothing? You've only been married 2 months, and my mom has paid out of pocket to cover food while taking care of you. We, her own children, don't even use her money. But when my brother isn't home, she spends her entire pension on you. And you don't appreciate it, you just waste her hard work. You're nothing but a complete ingrate. I couldn't help but laugh. She treats me well? That's what she told you. Lucas, my older brother-in-law, immediately gestured to his wife and to Julia's husband. No need to ask Mom. Ask my wife. Ask our brother-in-law. Does Mom treat them the same way she treats Nicole and Julia? His wife nodded. Mom's always been kind. Julia's husband also agreed. Yeah, she treats us all the same. Julia raised her voice even more. See? You heard that? My sister-in-law and my husband aren't even blood relatives. They're not even part of the Luo family. But my mom treats them like her own children. What? She's going to single you out? You're the newest daughter-in-law. Of course she tries to please you. Why would she dare offend you? Honestly, no mother-in-law in any household would dare show attitude to a daughter-in-law who's only been married 2 months. If she did treat you differently, it's because you pushed her to the edge with your behavior. I smiled. Wow, you've already said everything, good and bad. Julia snapped. Am I wrong? Just look at today. You threw out the dumplings my mom spent hours making, and she didn't even scold you, just cried to us. That proves you bully her all the time. If my brother had been home today, he would have slapped you across the face. Chapter 5. Julia's anger was written all over her face. I could tell. She wanted to hit me, but her husband held her back, clutching her arm and whispering, "Calm down, honey, think of the baby." She was 5 months pregnant. After all, between her and her brother, they'd said everything they could. In their eyes, even if my mother-in-law was out of line, it had to be my fault first. So what was the point of explaining? I said bluntly. Eric told me to throw them away. Eric, my husband. Lucas is the elder brother. Julia is the younger sister. The moment I said it, Julia practically exploded. She leapt up, jabbing a finger in my face, yelling, "Bullshit! Even if my brother spoils you, he'd never tell you to throw out dumplings my mom made with her own hands. You screwed up and now you're blaming him?" Her husband panicked, wrapping his arms around her. "Don't jump! Don't jump!" My mother-in-law cried even louder. "Nicole, have a conscience. Eric's at work. How could he tell you to toss the dumplings? My husband's job is highly confidential. Once he clocks in, his phone is turned off and surrendered. So during work hours, He's completely unreachable. The entire family knows this, which is exactly why none of them believed me. I said, he's told me before. If there's something I don't want to eat, just throw it out, don't force myself, Julia shouted. He meant takeout food or snacks, not dumplings my mom made. Lucas's tone darkened. Nicole, don't think you can lie just because Eric's not home. We're trying to talk to you seriously. You need to face your own problems. Face them? Please. What's the point of talking? They'll always believe their mom. They'd never believe someone like me, an outsider. Chapter 6. When I saw it was already noon, I stood up and said, I'll go make you something to eat. My mother-in-law immediately interjected. I'll do it. You don't know how to cook. Julia grabbed her arm. If she doesn't know, then let her learn. She's married now. She should act like a proper daughter-in-law. You're the mother-in-law. Why should you be the one waiting on her? Are you planning to serve her for the rest of your life? My mother-in-law sighed. Her cooking doesn't taste good. Julia snorted coldly. I don't care if it tastes good or not. As long as she cooks something, I'll eat it, even if it's dog shit. That suited me just fine. I went into the kitchen and pulled out the largest pot in the house. Gave it a good wash. Then I boiled a big pot of water and dumped in all the dumplings. Once they were cooked, I served each person a huge bowl. I carried them out carefully. My mother-in-law suddenly panicked. Those were meant especially for you, to eat each morning. You cooked them all in one go. What are you going to eat later? Julia rolled her eyes at her. Seriously, Mom, she clearly doesn't care about your dumplings. And you're still worried about her? If she skips breakfast, let her. You're not the one going hungry. My mother-in-law turned to me again. Your brother-in-law and Julia rarely come by. You should be making a proper meal, something substantial. A few bowls of dumplings? That's it? I said. Have the dumplings first. I'll go stir-fry some dishes afterward. Lucas said. Well, since they're ready, let's eat. It's been 2 months since I've had Mom's handmade dumplings. Julia added. Same here. I crave them but don't get any. Mom's always favoring second brother, making dumplings for his family every day, and they don't even appreciate it. My sister-in-law and Julia's husband helped serve the dumplings to everyone. I brought out a small dish of vinegar. The siblings eagerly picked up the dumplings, dipped them in vinegar, and popped them into their mouths. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law began eating as well. Chapter 7. Only my mother-in-law didn't touch her food. I picked up a dumpling and held it to her lips. Mom, you worked so hard today. Let me feed you one as a thank you for taking care of me. Her lips stayed tightly shut. What's wrong? Don't like dumplings. Mom, you made them yourself. You should at least try one. Julia chimed in. My mom loves dumplings. Come on, Mom, she's finally showing you a bit of filial piety for once. Just enjoy it. My mother-in-law turned her face halfway away. I'm not eating. I've lost my appetite. Julia, still stuffing her face, shot me a glare. Look at what you've done. Made my mom so upset she won't eat. She kept gulping down dumplings, clearly too fast to taste anything. Lucas had only eaten 2 before something felt off. He spit it out onto the table. What's in this filling? My sister-in-law also spat hers out. Mine has tissue in it, and noodles? Julia's husband spit his out too. There's bean thread noodles in mine. Then, crunch, Julia bit down on something. Ugh, tooey. She spat it out. Why is there a bone? Lucas frowned. What's going on with these dumplings? The filling's a mess, and the taste is weird. They're disgusting. Julia kept spitting. The filling's bad, and the wrapper tastes awful too. Like someone kneaded the dough with mud or something. Are you sure these are Mom's handmade dumplings? I replied calmly. They definitely are. She made them with her own hands. No way. Mom's cooking is great. There's no way she made something this nasty. I smiled. Well, maybe you should ask your mom. Strange, isn't it? She made them herself, yet she won't eat a single one. Suddenly, my mother-in-law burst into tears. Nicole, if you didn't want to eat them, you could have just told me. I wouldn't have made any. Why would you do this to me? What did you put in the filling and the flour? Oh, now she wants to blame me? Fury surged in my chest. My patience snapped. I grabbed the bowl of dumplings, and splash! I flung it at her. The dumplings hit her full in the face. Chapter 8. Ah! My mother-in-law let out a miserable scream. Oh my God! My sister-in-law stepped back in shock. Julia shouted. Nicole, you splashed my mom? Are you insane? The room descended into chaos. I panicked and said, sorry. My hand slipped. Mom, hurry, go rinse with cold water. I grabbed her arm and quickly dragged her into the kitchen, turned on the tap, and shoved her head under the running water. Lucas rushed in and yanked me away. Nicole, are you trying to kill my mother? I backed off and said, we need to cool it down right away. If her face blisters, it'll be very painful. He helped her up, saw how red her face was, and in a panic filled the sink with water and plunged her whole face into it. My mother-in-law struggled desperately. He said, Mom, don't move, just hold on a little bit. Julia came in, belly first, yelling, Lucas, what are you doing? Are you trying to drown Mom? Lucas pulled her out of the water and explained, her face is burned. If we don't cool it immediately, her skin will peel. Then take her to the hospital. Use burn cream. Are you trying to give her hypothermia by dunking her in cold water? My mother-in-law was gasping for air, too breathless to speak for a while. Lucas nodded. I'm taking her now. We returned to the living room. Julia lunged at me, ready to hit me. You bitch! You did this to my mom. I've tolerated you long enough. I picked up another bowl of dumplings and slammed it at her feet. She shrieked and stumbled backward in fear, nearly falling. Her husband caught her just in time. She screamed. She's lost her mind. This woman is crazy. My mom's lived her whole life and has never been humiliated like this. I said coldly. And I've lived half my life and never been bullied like this. Julia snapped. Bullied? You burned my mom and now you're playing the victim? This is assault. I'm calling the cops. Chapter 9. She took out her phone and started dialing the police. Lucas snatched it from her and shouted, calling the cops over family matters? Are you trying to embarrass us all? Finally able to breathe again, my mother-in-law started sobbing loudly. It's all my fault. I'm old and useless now, nobody wants me. I might as well die. I'll go outside right now and throw myself in front of a car. She flung the door open and ran out. Lucas rushed after her. Julia pointed at me, screaming furiously. If anything happens to my mom, Nicole, you'll pay with your life. They all ran out after her. I looked around at the mess and let out a long sigh. As the saying goes, it's easy to invite a god in, harder to get them out. And that uninvited goddess in my home was finally gone. Before I got married, I never expected my mother-in-law would move in with us. My sister-in-law already had a child. Julia was pregnant. And previously, my mother-in-law had been living with Julia to take care of her. So I figured she'd only consider coming to our place once I got pregnant too. But to my surprise, she knocked on our door the very next day after our wedding. She said to my husband, "You're busy at work. Not at home much. Nicole just married in, she's unfamiliar with everything. I'll take care of her so you won't have to worry." She came in with her luggage, moved into the guest room on her own, and went straight into the kitchen like she owned the place. My husband and I just looked at each other, speechless. I'm a writer, I work from home on my laptop. I need peace and quiet. So living with someone was never part of the plan. But her intentions seemed kind. We didn't know how to refuse. I guess she was worried I wouldn't adjust well to married life and wanted to stay for a while. I figured she'd return to take care of Julia once I settled in. But instead, she stayed for 3 full months. And now, finally, she was gone. Hopefully, for good. I cleaned the apartment and changed the lock code on the door. Then I sat down at my desk and got back to writing in peace. Chapter 10. Soon after, Julia pounded on the door. "Nicole, open up! I'm here to get Mom's clothes." I brought out my mother-in-law's luggage and handed it to her husband, then tried to close the door. Julia shoved the door angrily. "You put my mom in the hospital, and you're not even going to stay with her?" I glanced at her big pregnant belly and said, "Oh, all right." I turned to walk out. Julia blinked in surprise and stepped back. "You're not going to change your clothes?" "Oh, right. Let me change." I suddenly darted back inside and slammed the door shut. Julia waited for a moment. When I didn't come back out, she started banging on the door and shouting, "Nicole, what's that supposed to mean? You're not even going to take care of Mom at the hospital?" I said through the door. "She has sons and daughters, why should I, the daughter-in-law, be the one to stay with her? But I'm pregnant. My big brother has to work. My second brother isn't even home, and my sister-in-law has to pick up and drop off her kid. If you don't go, who will?" I retorted. "All you blood-related kids are conveniently busy, and yet somehow the filial duty has to be outsourced to me? How shameless is that? I'm busy too." She started pounding and cursing again. "You put her in the hospital, how can you not go?" I ignored her and didn't open the door. She had no choice but to leave with her husband dragging her away. That evening, my phone wouldn't stop pinging. The family group chat was flooded with videos. One of my mother-in-law groaning on the hospital bed, another of the doctor inserting her for, yet another of Julia helping her to the bathroom. The whole point? Playing the victim. They wanted me to feel guilty and voluntarily come to care for her. But I was calm, unmoved. I muted the group, silenced my phone, and went back to writing. A while later, I figured she must have been discharged. I peeked at the group chat again. Sure enough, she had moved in with Julia. In the video, Julia, belly big as ever, was feeding her mom, massaging her shoulders, helping her change clothes. Chapter 11. Julia said in a sarcastic tone, "Mom, isn't your youngest daughter way better than some people?" My mother-in-law nodded proudly. "My youngest daughter is the best." I chuckled. "You're her biological child, of course she'd say that." From then on, I rarely checked the group chat. I focused fully on my writing. Half a month later, I finished my manuscript, packed my bags, and headed out for a research trip to find inspiration for the next book. Just 2 days after leaving, my mother-in-law called me. "Nicole, I can't get the door open. Can you help me unlock it?" I didn't expect her to come to my place again. "I'm not home," I replied. Julia's voice barked in the background. "Then give Mom the password. It's not just your house. How dare you lock her out?" I curled my lips and said, "Hello? Hello? What did you say?" "I'm in the mountains, signal's really bad," my mother-in-law asked. "Nicole, are you eating well? You must have breakfast, or it'll upset your stomach. And dress warmly out there so you don't catch a cold," I continued. "Hello? Hello? Still there? Gosh, this signal is terrible," Julia cursed loudly. "Mom, are you stupid or what? She kicked you out and you're still worrying about her?" My mother-in-law sighed. "When your brother was a kid, I was too strict with him. That's why he holds a grudge. Now if I don't treat his wife well, he'll hate me even more," Julia shouted furiously. "My brother must be blind to marry that witch. Once he's back, I'll make him divorce her. And if he doesn't, I'll post everything that bitch did to you online. She'll be ruined." Then the call disconnected. I knew exactly what Julia was doing. She wanted to scare me into backing down. Once my trip was over, I went home and resumed my writing. Chapter 12. Soon, it was almost New Year, and my husband was finally on vacation. As soon as he came home, he hugged me. "Have you been wronged?" Once he turned his phone on, he'd have seen all the group messages. I said, "No, it's your mom who's been wronged." He didn't say anything more, just buried himself in intimacy. He had been working on a high-priority assignment and hadn't returned since our wedding leave. 3 months apart, both of us missed each other terribly. But barely 2 hours into our alone time, his phone rang. It was his mom. "Eric, you and Nicole need to go to Lucas's house. We're having a family meeting to deal with their issues." "What's going on with Lucas?" "Your sister-in-law made a mistake. We're going to help her fix it." All right. I found it baffling. My impression of my sister-in-law was quite good. She wasn't fake-friendly like my mother-in-law, nor arrogant like Julia. She was gentle, cautious, diligent, and respectful. I couldn't imagine what kind of mistake would warrant a family meeting to scold her. My husband said, "Let me check the group chat." I picked up my phone too and saw that Lucas had gotten into a fight with his wife. Lucas tagged her in the family group chat. "Wife, did you buy a quilt for your mom?" She replied, Yes. I bought one. Why didn't you consult me first? His wife responded. I've been married into your family for over 10 years. This is the first time I've ever bought my mom a quilt. And it cost less than 1,000 yuan. I need to ask for permission? Lucas replied sternly. If it's not something for this family, even if it's just 100 yuan, you should tell me. Besides, this isn't the first time. I already reminded you last time when you bought clothes for your mom. His wife cried in frustration. That was my mom's birthday. I've been married into your family for over a decade, and I've only ever bought her one set of clothes. Am I being unreasonable? Chapter 13. Lucas got angrier. So now you're in the right? Did I say you couldn't buy it? I'm asking why you didn't discuss it with me. His wife, choking on tears, said, I earn over 8,000 yuan a month. Can't I even spend 1,000 without consulting you? I'm not freeloading. I used my money to buy my mom something. Why is that not okay? Lucas snapped. What do you mean your money? Aren't you my wife? The couple just kept arguing. I said, do we really have to go? Married couples argue all the time. If we show up, we'll just be meddling. My husband replied. This is what I told you about before, solving problems through family meetings. When we got married, he told me that in his family, they hold meetings for everything. If a couple has a problem, it's considered everyone's problem. If someone messes up, the whole family joins in to criticize and help them change. I nodded. The last time they all came to our place, it was also for a family meeting, to criticize me. I didn't accept it, and it ended badly. My husband stroked my head. I told you, if my mom acts out, just ignore her. I'll handle it when I'm back. That's why he repeatedly warned me not to provoke his mother. So when I dumped those dumplings in the trash and she caught me, I actually did regret it. I asked, are you saying today, both your sister-in-law and I will be put on trial? My husband chuckled, pulled me close. Relax. With me here, no one dares judge you. Still, I was curious. Let's see how they plan to judge me. If they crossed the line, I'd make sure they all went down with me. When we arrived at Lucas's house, Julia and her husband were already there, along with my mother-in-law. Everyone took their seats. My sister-in-law served tea to everyone, but there wasn't a seat left for her. Chapter 14. In the middle of the living room stood a single chair. My mother-in-law pointed at it. Eldest daughter-in-law, sit down and explain what's going on between you two. I rolled my eyes. From the way they'd set this up, it was clearly a trial. My sister-in-law in the hot seat. My brother-in-law Lucas crossed his arms, full of smug confidence. You think you're in the right? Then go ahead and explain first. My sister-in-law sat down, her voice full of grievance as she spoke. I've been married for years. Every year I buy clothes for mom, and gifts for both my brother and sister-in-law. I've done my duty as a daughter-in-law, haven't I? But I haven't done enough as a daughter. My parents live far away, and I only go home every few years. The last time I visited, I noticed my mom's quilt was thin. I was afraid she'd catch a cold, so I ordered her a new bedding set. It cost less than 1,000 yuan, and Lucas has been nagging me like I committed some unforgivable crime. Julia jumped in. Sis-in-law, having filial piety is a virtue. That's something we should all acknowledge. But you're married to my brother now. The money you two earn is shared marital property. If the money you spend isn't for your household, then my brother has the right to know where it's going. To put it bluntly, what if you were secretly buying things for another man? Wouldn't my brother be heartbroken? This just shows how much he loves you. He's jealous. Of course. I believe you'd never do something so disgraceful. That said, if you want to spend money on your birth family, you should tell my brother. If you send a gift in his name, your mom will be happy, and he'll save face too, right? Lucas nodded. See? My little sister understands me. Honey, we've been married over a decade, and you still don't get me? You went behind my back to buy something for your mom. What do you think that looks like to others? Won't they say I'm an ungrateful son-in-law who doesn't care for his in-laws? Chapter 15. My sister-in-law nodded. I understand. Next time I buy something, I'll discuss it with you first. My brother-in-law patted her on the shoulder jokingly. That's my good wife. No worries, admitting your mistake and correcting it means you're still a good comrade. Something didn't sit right with me. How had this turned into her fault alone? After all these years of marriage, my brother-in-law never once bought anything for her parents. But now that she's bought her mom a piece of clothing and a bedding set, she's suddenly being criticized by the whole family? At that moment, my mother-in-law made a concluding speech. Since you've married into our family, you are now one of us. Everything about you belongs to our family. So don't say things like this is money I earned. In a family, we don't draw lines like that. Otherwise, what if your husband starts spending money behind your back? What if he spends it on another woman? Would you be okay with that? I noticed my sister-in-law's expression stiffen slightly. My brother-in-law quickly interrupted. Mom, what are you saying? I'm not that dumb. Why would I spend money on another woman? My mother-in-law turned to my sister-in-law and said, see how loyal your husband is to you? That's what a couple should be, loyal and devoted. Money in the family shouldn't be spent on outsiders. Then it hit me. In their family, once a woman marries in, her income can be spent on her husband, on her in-laws, and even on her husband's siblings. But it absolutely must not be spent on her own family. Because to them, everyone else is an outsider. And the wife's birth family? The biggest outsiders of all. I thought my sister-in-law was going to argue back. But she didn't. She simply lowered her eyes and replied meekly. I understand, Mom. My brother-in-law patted her shoulder again. Go make dinner. Mom and our siblings came over just to help us solve this issue. They've had a long day. So make some hearty dishes. Chapter 16. My sister-in-law quietly got up and went to the kitchen. I suddenly recalled how my mother-in-law had told me to cook multiple dishes that day, and couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. So that's their way. Gang up on someone, and expect the one being bullied to still serve them good food and drinks. But since my sister-in-law said nothing, it wasn't my place to speak up for her. Once everyone was full and satisfied, Lucas beamed. Our family matter is resolved. Now let's talk about the younger brother's household. My husband smiled. So the main reason you asked us here today is to talk about my wife? Lucas nodded. Glad you know. Last time you weren't home, and your wife told quite a few lies. Now that you're back, I'd like to hear your take. My husband replied. I'd like to hear my wife's version first. Lucas placed a chair in the center of the room. Sister-in-law, please have a seat. Just as I was about to explode, my husband wrapped an arm around me and said, my wife will sit with me. My mother-in-law's face immediately soured. My sister-in-law shouted, second brother, do you not understand the rules? My husband looked at her and asked, what rules? In our family, the person who made a mistake sits in the center. It shows they admit their fault. What do you mean by shielding her like this? My husband chuckled. She's my wife. What's wrong with me protecting her? When your husband's family mistreats you, don't you want your husband to stand up for you? My sister-in-law retorted. But I didn't do anything wrong. My husband snorted. And what did my wife do wrong? She hasn't even spoken yet. And you've already found her guilty? She frowned. Second brother, we're doing this for your sake. He slammed the table. You call bullying my wife helping me? Helping me destroy my own home? Chapter 17. Slam. The noise startled everyone. My sister-in-law jumped up. What are you yelling for? Her husband quickly held her back. Don't get agitated, remember the baby. They had all come fully prepared to interrogate me like they did my sister-in-law. What they didn't expect was my husband's clear stance, firmly on my side. It stunned them. My older brother-in-law tried to mediate. Second brother, you just reunited with your wife after months apart. We get that you care about her. But right is right, and wrong is wrong. You can't blindly take her side. Dad died early, and Mom raised us 3 siblings alone. It wasn't easy. Now it's only right that we show her respect and care. You have a special job and can't be by Mom's side much. We understand that. Mom even went out of her way to take care of your wife. She didn't even have time to pick up my daughter or help our pregnant sister. None of us complained. But look at your wife. She refused to eat the meals Mom made and ordered takeout instead. She threw out dumplings Mom hand-wrapped. When we visited, instead of talking things out, Nicole splashed hot dumplings on Mom's face. Fresh from the pot. Do you know how hot they are? If I hadn't cooled her down in time, her face would have been ruined. During her hospital stay, Nicole didn't visit once, not even a call. Second brother. Tell us, was your wife right to do that? Before my husband could speak, Mom jumped in again, repeating how hard she worked to take care of me, and how ungrateful I was. She went into dramatic detail about how tiring it was to hand wrap those dumplings, crying as she condemned me for wasting food by throwing them in the trash. Chapter 18. I interrupted. I didn't waste anything. After Mom picked the dumplings out of the trash, I cooked them and served them to you. You all barely ate any. That's when I threw them away. If anything was wasted, you wasted it, not me. My sister-in-law's eyes went wide. What? You cooked dumplings that had been in the trash and served them to us? No wonder they tasted off. I looked at her like she was stupid. Mom even took a video that day. The dumplings were clearly in the trash, and when I served them to you, no one objected. She turned to blame her mom. Why didn't you warn us, Mom? I sneered. What more warning did you need? She didn't even eat them herself. Wasn't that a clue? She said she didn't have an appetite. No kidding. If you saw dumplings fished out of the trash, would you have an appetite? I feel sick. She jumped up and ran to the bathroom. Soon, we could hear her throwing up. My husband looked at me, concerned. You ate those too? Of course not. I smiled. My bowl had half a bowl of cold water added to it, wasn't edible. He frowned. Why did you add cold water? I replied calmly. In case someone started something, I'd splash it in their face. Lucas exploded. So you planned to throw dumplings at my mom from the start? No, whoever pissed me off would get the bowl. I gave him a cold smile. If you had pissed me off, I would have dumped it on you, and then it wouldn't have been just a 3-day hospital stay. Back then, I thought Lucas might try to hit me. If he had slapped me, I would have splashed him with boiling dumplings, clear-cut self-defense. Lucas's face turned bright red, but he couldn't say a word. My husband suddenly understood. So the dumplings you threw at my mom weren't hot? Exactly. I didn't want to get arrested. After all, Chapter 19. Lucas roared. Second brother. Does it matter whether the dumplings were hot? Even if they weren't, how can your wife throw them in Mom's face? Just then, my sister-in-law came out of the bathroom and accused me too, for hurting Mom and not taking care of her. The two of them stared at me with righteous anger. I showed no emotion. Once they quieted down, my husband asked calmly, Is Mom done speaking? No. Then please, continue, Mom said. I picked the dumplings out of the trash, not for her to cook and feed to her brother-in-law and sister-in-law. I cut her off. You wanted me to eat them? This is what you call taking care of me? I didn't take care of you? My brother-in-law and sister-in-law joined in. Didn't Mom cook for you? Wash your clothes? You ungrateful snake. 3 voices all came at me at once. I had to cover my ears. Enough. My husband suddenly raised his voice. You've all had your say. Now it's my wife's turn. Quiet! Everyone fell silent. My sister-in-law pointed to the center chair. She should sit there if she wants to speak. I glared at her coldly. You can go sit in the middle and listen. Why should I? I didn't do anything wrong. My husband snapped. Oh really? You're married off. You don't even live here anymore. What gives you the right to meddle in your brother's household and shout at your sister-in-law? She was shocked and aggrieved. Mom called me here. Then Mom was wrong. And if you came, you should have behaved like a guest. What gave you the right to boss around my wife? She was still indignant. I wasn't just criticizing your wife, I did the same to my sister-in-law. My husband sneered. And you think that's okay? I don't care if our brother stands up for his wife or not, but mine? I will always protect her. None of you are allowed to bully her. Chapter 20. The room fell silent. The embarrassment on the Sia family's faces was obvious. My sister-in-law looked a little sad. My brother-in-law, however, seemed slightly amused by the chaos. This so-called harmonious family had just had its mask ripped off by my husband. And truthfully, I was probably the root of the disaster. My eldest brother-in-law tried to smooth things over. Second brother, little sister, don't fight. Let's hear Nicole's side first. Suddenly, mother-in-law burst into tears. It's all my fault. All my fault. Boo-hoo, my husband said. Oh, so Mom knows she's at fault now? Back then, Every time we had a family meeting, I sat in the center chair and got scolded from all sides. And now you want my wife to sit there when she hasn't even said a word and you already found her guilty? Do you think we're that easy to bully? My brother-in-law frowned. Second brother. That's not fair. We weren't targeting you too. We criticized your sister-in-law too. Didn't we? We're just trying to help your wife correct her behavior and integrate into our family. My husband let out a cold laugh and cut him off. Oh, please. Sister-in-law bought a single bedding set. And you all made it into a national crisis. Criticizing her was just a warning shot. She's collateral damage. A scapegoat to scare my wife. I glanced at my sister-in-law. Her tears finally fell. Maybe now she realized, the moment her husband questioned her in the family group chat. It was all premeditated. How bitter that must feel. To be dragged out and humiliated just to set an example for the new wife of 3 months. Brother-in-law's face turned red. Eric, stop trying to drive a wedge between me and my wife. She knows how I treat her. My husband smiled coldly. Then why are you trying to drive a wedge between me and my wife? All those sarcastic group messages aimed at Nicole, what? Hoping I'd come home and fix her? And if I did, we get divorced? Wouldn't that suit you all perfectly? Chapter 21. Brother-in-law replied. We'd never want you to get divorced. We just want you to see your wife's true colors. Sister-in-law chimed in. Exactly. We're just trying to stop you from being fooled. I don't care if she fooled me. I'd gladly fall for her again. That shut them both up. Then my husband turned to me. Babe, go ahead. Tell them how you hurt Mom. I said. To be honest, after Eric went back to work, Mom and I never ate together again. She made her own food. I made mine. Sister-in-law shouted. Oh, so now you admit it? Mom cooked for you and you refused to eat it. Always ordering takeout. She ended up eating leftovers every day. I suddenly lost interest in arguing. Enough. Talking reason with you people is pointless. Turn on the TV. I'll cast the video. Watch it yourselves. My husband stood and turned on the TV. I mirrored the surveillance footage saved on my phone to the screen. It began with clips from when Eric was home on marriage leave. Back then, Mom treated us like royalty. She woke up early every morning to make porridge, steam buns, fry side dishes, cook egg pancakes, and heat milk. Once we got up and freshened up, we'd sit together and eat as a cozy family of 3. After breakfast, she mopped, washed laundry, and kept busy nonstop. Sister-in-law muttered as she watched. See how well Mom treated you? She clearly favors second brother and his wife. I'm pregnant and never got this kind of service. Nobody replied. Only Mom looked visibly nervous. She asked anxiously. Eldest. How is this showing up on your TV? My brother-in-law explained. It's a video from Nicole's phone. She's casting it to the screen. Mother-in-law trembled with rage. What? She recorded me secretly? Chapter 22. My husband said. Why are you nervous, Mom? Nicole didn't secretly record you. The cameras were installed by me. My sister-in-law demanded. Why would you install surveillance at home? Are you trying to spy on Mom doing chores? My husband chuckled. I installed the cameras before I even got married. The one in the living room lets Nicole check in when she's out. The one in the kitchen is so that if she forgets about something cooking while working, the alarm can warn her. My sister-in-law had no comeback, but the footage that followed left her even more speechless. Once my husband's marriage leave ended, he went back to work. The next morning, my mother-in-law made a pot of porridge and told me, Nicole, just the 2 of us now, let's keep meals simple. We'll just have some porridge and pickled vegetables. When Eric's back, I'll cook properly again. I said. He won't be back until New Year. Are we supposed to live off pickles until then? She replied. Not exactly. I just mean we've been eating too heavily lately. Let's eat light for a few days. It made sense. During the wedding period, we'd had meat at every meal, so I agreed. That morning's porridge was a large pot. We didn't finish it. At lunch, she reheated it and had some more. Half a bowl was left. By dinner, she'd watered it down again. Now there were 2 bowls. I finished one in a single gulp. 3 days straight of porridge and pickles. On the 4th morning, she called me to eat, and on the table were 2 bowls of dark, grainy paste. She smiled. This is multigrain powder I bought yesterday. It's been roasted, so just add hot water and it's ready. From now on, we'll have this for breakfast. Healthy, slimming, and cheap. 10 yuan a kilo, we'll barely finish it in 2 weeks. Chapter 23. I said. But it's not filling, she responded. That's the point. Experts say eating until you're 70% full is the healthiest. Young people these days don't care for wellness, eating meat all the time, stuffing yourselves with the good stuff and skipping meals when it's plain. At this rate, your bodies will collapse early, and it breaks my heart. She made it sound like she was doing it all for my own good. What could I say? Breakfast was grain paste. Lunch was watery porridge, a plain stir-fried veggie, and a handful of pickles. Dinner was thinned-out leftover porridge. After a full week, I couldn't take it anymore. I ordered takeout. Twice cooked pork, shredded pork with garlic sauce, and 2 portions of rice. When the food delivery arrived, my mother-in-law's face darkened. We already have food at home. Why order? I said. I just want some meat. I slid a bowl of rice toward her. She replied. I'm not eating that. I'll stick with porridge. She refused both the meat dishes, eating her porridge and plain vegetables. The video ended. I said. It was that day when we started eating separately. Though we had separate meals, we never argued. We were polite and civil. But the Xia siblings got even angrier. My sister-in-law exclaimed. You order big meat dishes every day while making my mom eat watery porridge and veggies? How heartless are you? How could you even eat like that? Lucas added. Second brother, be honest. Do you think your wife did the right thing? My husband asked. Are you all blind? Didn't you see my wife offered meat to mom? If she didn't want to eat it, what was Nicole supposed to do, force-feed her? Sister-in-law argued. She still shouldn't eat alone. I sneered. So I'm supposed to join her in eating plain porridge and veggies? In our family, eating alone is not allowed. Really? Then why did your mom eat alone? Lies. My mom would never eat alone. Chapter 24. Then let's keep watching. I clicked on the next video. My mother-in-law was at a restaurant, enjoying a plate of steamed pork belly, a big bowl of rice, and a fried egg soup. She was clearly savoring it. My sister-in-law tried to justify her. My mom only went to the restaurant because she saw you ordering takeout. It triggered her cravings. I let out a short laugh. Then take a look at the timestamp on the video. She was already eating alone at the restaurant when I saw her. I was upset, so I ordered takeout. I used to wonder if I was always sneaking snacks in the study from hunger. How was she managing to resist? Turns out she was secretly eating outside. My mother-in-law immediately jumped in. Exactly. You sneak snacks in your room when you're hungry, and I can't go out to eat when I'm hungry? I shot back. Then why did you tell your daughter you were spending all your pension money on me? My husband joined in. Spending your pension? I sent you 10,000 yuan. You haven't even finished spending it yet. Have you? My mother-in-law's face turned bright red. My sister-in-law started yelling again. Didn't mom make dumplings just for you afterward? Even if she upset you before, that should count as an apology. So why did you add weird things to the dumpling filling and flour? Oh, I get it now. You did it on purpose. That's why you threw the dumplings away after she made them. You're framing her, trying to kick her out. I smiled faintly. Wow, genius logic. Yes, I did suggest she move out. I told her I needed peace and quiet, but she kept blasting short videos at full volume. She'd video chat with you all, shouting like she was fighting. Neighbors across the street even asked her to lower her voice. Her noise during the day made it impossible for me to write, so I had to stay up late into the night. Chapter 25. My sister-in-law said, you could have just asked mom to quiet down. I chuckled. You think I didn't? She'd lower her voice for a bit. Then it'd be loud again. I couldn't work during the day, so I stayed up late, sometimes until 2 or 3 in the morning. But she'd wake me up at 6, insisting I eat breakfast. I told her not to bother me. I didn't want to eat. She kept knocking on the door again and again, saying skipping breakfast was bad. Early to bed and early to rise was healthy. It drove me insane. I tolerated her, for your brother's sake. But eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I told her, no more breakfast wake-ups. No loud videos or phone calls at home. If she couldn't do that, she needed to leave. She said not letting her watch short videos was like asking her to die. She chose to leave, but still worried I wouldn't eat. She said she'd make dumplings and leave them in the freezer so I could boil some every morning. My sister-in-law interrupted again. See? Even when you were trying to drive her out, she was still thinking about you. I didn't waste my breath. I opened another video. Yes. She worked hard on those dumplings. Let's see how she made them. The timestamp read 4 a.m. At that point, I'd only been asleep for about an hour. She was chopping away loudly in the kitchen. Bang, bang, bang. I thought, it's only for a little while, and tried to bear it. But she went on for a long time. I was in pain, my eyes throbbing, and I couldn't sleep. So I checked the home security footage to see how much longer she'd keep chopping. Just as I tuned in, she finished chopping and pulled out one of my used takeout containers. I stared in disbelief. What was she doing? I kept all my used containers in a black trash bag and only threw them out every few days. She never helped me take out the trash. We didn't share meals, laundry, or chores. Everything was completely separate. Chapter 26. She poured all the leftovers into the dumpling filling, sour and spicy rice noodles, snail noodles, greasy stir-fry oil, even the napkins I had thrown into the box. She didn't even take the tissues out. As she mixed the stuffing, she cursed under her breath. Eat it. Eat it all. Eat until you puke and shit yourself. She even spat into the mixture a few times. I nearly vomited from disgust. Then she started kneading the dough. After pouring out the flour, she stepped out of the kitchen, went to the balcony, and grabbed a small handful of dirt from a flower pot, scattering it into the flour. It wasn't much dirt, so you couldn't see it, but I bet the texture was disgusting. As she wrapped the dumplings, she kept muttering, "Hope you die eating these. Just die." My sister-in-law couldn't even finish watching. She bolted to the bathroom to vomit. I felt a little bad. Pregnant women watching this, rough. Especially since she'd eaten the most that day. When the video ended, I said, "Now do you all understand why I threw the dumplings in the trash?" My mother-in-law lowered her head, saying nothing. My eldest brother-in-law questioned me. "Why didn't you show this video that day?" He hadn't vomited, but thinking about what he had eaten must have churned his stomach. I smiled coldly. "Did any of you even ask?" If anyone had asked me why I threw out those dumplings, I would have shown the video. He said, "Well, even if we didn't ask, couldn't you have said something anyway?" I shot back. "Did you give me the chance? You walked in and immediately accused me of being unfilial and demanded I apologize to your mom. Be honest, after seeing what she did. Does she deserve an apology from me?" At that moment, my sister-in-law asked, "If mom didn't get along with Nicole, why didn't she come live with us?" I snorted. "I did suggest she move in with you, but she said no, because..." Chapter 27. Just then, my sister-in-law came out of the bathroom, face pale, and interrupted. "Why wouldn't mom come live with us if she didn't like second sister-in-law?" I answered. "She said she had no freedom at your place, that you're always bossing her around." She snapped. "My mom would never badmouth me or my brother. Stop trying to drive a wedge between us." "Well, she asked for proof." I said. "Let's just watch the footage then." This conversation happened while we were eating in the dining room. There's no camera in the dining area, but the kitchen cam caught the audio. In the video, I was trying to convince mom to go stay with Big Brother's family. "Don't you miss your granddaughter?" She said. "I don't want to go, it's too exhausting over there. I have to pick up and drop off the kid 4 times a day. Even on weekends, they want to enjoy their couple's time. So I'm stuck babysitting. Not only do I have to look after the kid, but I also have to cook, do laundry, and clean. My back is killing me. Kids nowadays are so hard to deal with. That little brat can't be scolded or spanked. Taking care of just one is more tiring than raising my 3 kids back then." My brother and sister-in-law's faces turned ugly. Then in the video, I said, "Then how about visiting your youngest daughter? She's 4 months pregnant. She could use the help. You're her mother, it'd be more thoughtful." Mom quickly shook her head. "Oh, don't even mention her. She already loved bossing me around. But ever since she got pregnant, She runs me ragged. She's super picky, complains about every dish I cook. Even when I make several each meal, she doesn't even give me money for groceries. I've used up all my retirement savings on her. She says I don't mop properly, and wants me to mop 5 times a day. Once in the morning, once after each meal, and once before bed. Says she has OCD. She also blames me for the hair on the floor, even though it's clearly her long hair. Chapter 28. My sister-in-law was furious after watching the video. She shouted at her mom, "Mom, how could you say those things about me in front of outsiders? I always defend you. And you said I'm picky and bossy? Am I really that awful?" My mother-in-law pitifully replied, "She tricked me into saying it. She wanted me out of the house, so she led me into talking badly about all of you." Unfortunately, the evidence was irrefutable, and none of her children believed her anymore. My husband said, "Looks like Mom's having a tough time at both your homes. At our place, she lives quite easily. She only cooks for herself, or she just makes instant porridge and eats out at restaurants. She only washes her own clothes. My wife does her own laundry. She sweeps and mops based on her mood, maybe once a week, maybe once a month. When she doesn't do it, my wife does, and never complains. My wife never orders her around, and we don't even have kids to trouble her." Then he suddenly turned to his mom and asked, "If you liked our home so much, why did you treat Nicole so badly?" Tears welled up before she even spoke. "I didn't come to your home to enjoy life. I came to take care of your wife. I wanted you two to give me a chubby grandson soon, but it's been 4 months since the wedding, and Nicole still isn't pregnant. I came to take care of a pregnant woman, not to serve a hen that can't lay eggs." I shot back. "My husband started work the day after our wedding. We've only been married half a month. How did you know I wasn't pregnant back then?" She said with righteous conviction, "Of course I knew. When your sister-in-law got married, she was already 4 months along. Your younger sister also got her marriage license only after being 2 months pregnant. And you? It's been half a month and still nothing. If you weren't barren, wouldn't there be some signs by now?" Chapter 29. My husband snapped, shouting, "So in your eyes, getting pregnant before marriage is something to be proud of? Was it so honorable when you got pregnant before marriage?" I looked at him in shock. Wait, his mom had a child before marriage? Was that his older brother? Both the brother and sister-in-law looked equally stunned. My sister-in-law asked, "Second brother? What do you mean? Who did Mom get pregnant with before marriage? How do you even know about it?" Before he could answer, my mother-in-law burst into loud sobs. "What's wrong with wanting a grandson? Your older brother had a daughter. Your sister, if she has a son, that's still someone else's grandson. I was counting on you to give me a boy to carry on the family name, and now you slander me, boo-hoo-hoo." My sister-in-law shouted, "Mom, what are you even talking about? My child doesn't carry the Xie surname, but it's still your grandchild, and if the name matters so much, I'll just have the kid take my surname, okay?" The older brother said, "I'm just now realizing you value sons over daughters. I used to think you spoiled my sister because you preferred daughters over sons." The mother-in-law screamed, "Everything is my fault. I'll go get hit by a car and die." And she ran out. The eldest brother and brother-in-law chased after her. The sister-in-law glanced at us and ran after them too. My younger sister-in-law glared at me. "Are you satisfied now? You've ruined our entire family." I snapped back. "What does it have to do with me? Your family was already a mess. A whole bunch of bullies who gang up on anyone with a different surname. I simply refuse to be bullied. How is that wrong?" She turned to my husband and shouted, "Second brother, did you hear what she just said?" He shot back, "Did she say anything wrong? Your family gangs up on your sister-in-law, your husband, and now mine too? But my wife isn't someone you can walk over." She stared at him in disbelief. "What do you mean your family? Aren't you part of it?" Chapter 30. My husband sneered coldly. "Just because we share a surname doesn't mean I'm the same as you people." He took my hand. "Let's go. We're going home." My sister-in-law shouted, "You're just going to leave after making Mom this upset? What if something happens to her?" My husband turned to her and said, "Julia, remember this. Mom is in this state because of you and our older brother. If either of you had treated her better and not ordered her around all day, she wouldn't have clung to our house like this. So don't you dare accuse us of being unfilial. You two are the real hypocrites, always putting on a kind and moral facade while being self-serving and despicable on the inside. You talk about righteousness, but everything you do is calculated. From now on, I have nothing to do with either of you. Stay away from us. While Julia stood there stunned, we walked away. Downstairs, we saw my mother-in-law sitting on the ground. My brother-in-law was helping her up. She cried out, "Don't bother with me. Let me die. I'm old and useless, just wasting food by staying alive." Then she spotted us approaching and cried even louder. I stood in the middle of the road hoping to get hit, but not a single car would hit me. They all avoided me. Why is my life so bitter? I can't even die when I want to. Boo-hoo. My husband silently ushered me into the car and drove off. I hesitated. You don't think she'll actually try to kill herself, right? He answered. If she does, that's her problem. It has nothing to do with us. We got home very late and collapsed into bed. The next morning, while we were still asleep, my husband's phone rang. He picked up and put it on speaker. Julia's panicked voice screamed, "Second brother, hurry to the hospital. Big brother was in a car accident. They're saying they might have to amputate. And sis-in-law, she's missing." We rushed to the hospital. Big brother was already in surgery. Julia had signed the consent forms. Chapter 31. My mother-in-law and my niece were at the hospital too. The old woman started wailing again. Why did the car hit my son? Why not hit me instead? But suddenly, the little girl snapped. "Grandma, stop talking nonsense. You're the reason this happened. You cursed my dad and that's why he got in the accident." My mother-in-law froze. "What did you say? I cursed your dad? When did I do that? You were ranting all night about wanting to die, about hoping a car would hit you, and now my dad's in surgery." Though she was only 11, the girl spoke clearly and logically. She quickly recounted what had happened at home the night before. After we left, Big brother had dragged Grandma back home. She kept muttering curses, angry that cars wouldn't hit her and let her die. My sister-in-law got fed up and snapped. "Drivers aren't idiots. If they hit you, sure, you're free, but they're left with massive consequences. My husband slows down even for cats. Do you think someone would just hit a person on purpose?" That made Big brother angry too. "How dare you speak to mom like that? You know she's upset. Apologize to her right now." My sister-in-law looked at him with disappointment. "Lucas, I've been married to you for over 10 years. Every time I have a conflict with your family, no matter who's at fault, you always make me apologize. In your heart, I've never been one of you. Your mom and your sister are your real family, right? Fine, let's divorce." She went to pack her things. Big brother chased her down and snatched the luggage. "Oh, you want to leave? Fine, but you're leaving with nothing. Everything in this house belongs to us. Not you." She didn't argue. She just turned and walked out. Chapter 32. Big brother never imagined that his wife would really run away from home. She left without her phone, bank card, or even ID. He was worried something might happen to her and considered going after her. But mother stopped him. Chase her? For what? Her parents live far away. She's got nowhere to go. She'll come back on her own soon. When couples fight, it's all about who has the tougher heart. If you give in first, she'll walk all over you from now on, running away every time things don't go her way. Big brother found his mother's logic convincing. And indeed, he didn't go after his wife. When their little daughter cried and begged to look for her mom, Big brother beat her with a clothes hanger and forced her to go to bed. Then came the next morning. Little sister called mom to say she had received a call from the police. Big brother had been in a car accident. After investigating, the police reconstructed the crash scene. Big brother had driven out around dawn, speeding down the road, and nearly hit a pedestrian. Swerving to avoid them, he crossed into oncoming traffic and crashed into a large freight truck. The injuries were catastrophic. He was still in surgery. Little sister said, "The doctor said the only way to save his life is to amputate. I had no choice but to sign the papers." Mother wailed and pounded her chest. "I cursed myself. I wanted the car to hit me. I'm 60, I've lived enough. But my son's only 38. I didn't ask for this to happen to him. Oh heavens, take me instead." Little sister snapped. "Shut up. Mom, you say you were cursing yourself, but you dragged others into it. When we were kids, you always said never make careless oaths. You said, the heavens are watching. Even 3 feet above the ground there are spirits. You said, swearing on something you didn't do never works, but if it's real, then the curse always lands. So tell me, was wishing a car would hit you a bad thing? All your kids drive. You used a car accident to swear an oath, and now it came true. Big Brother's paying the price. Is that what you wanted? Chapter 33. Mother muttered. I was cursing myself. If the car didn't come, what could I do? Little sister yelled. Still making excuses? Couldn't you have avoided saying the word car altogether? Mother started sobbing again. I shouldn't have spoken at all. I won't talk anymore. I'll be mute for the rest of my life. Sob, sob, sob. I looked at my husband. He immediately understood. Go home. I'll take you. I stopped him. You should stay here and wait for your brother to come out of surgery. I'll go back by myself. As I turned to leave, I heard little sister mutter. She's heartless. Big Brother's still in surgery. Could live or die, and she just walks away. My husband replied coldly. That's your brother, not my wife's. And it's not like he ever treated her well. Why should she care? When I got home, I saw my sister-in-law waiting at the door. Her eyes were red. Clearly she'd been crying for a long time. She forced a smile. You weren't home? No wonder you didn't answer the doorbell. I opened the door and said, come in, sister-in-law. As soon as she stepped inside, she started crying again. I want a divorce. Then she told me everything she had suffered over the years. There were too many grievances to count. Even the tiniest mistake brought on scolding from the entire family. When the kids were small, mother-in-law claimed to help raise them, but really, she focused on serving Big Brother. Every dish was made to suit his taste. He loved spicy food, extremely spicy. So every dish mother made was tum-numbingly hot. Big Brother would praise her endlessly. No one cooks like mom. But sister-in-law was still breastfeeding. Every time she ate spicy food, the baby would get inflamed, crying during both bowel movements and urination. When the baby cried at night and disturbed Big Brother's sleep, mother would call a family meeting to scold sister-in-law for not taking proper care of the child and affecting Big Brother's rest. Chapter 34. When the child turned 2, he was sent to daycare, and my sister-in-law, the eldest brother's wife, went back to work. My mother-in-law was in charge of picking the child up. Every time my sister-in-law got home from work, my mother-in-law would sigh, rub her back, and complain about being exhausted. My sister-in-law, the younger one, witnessed this and immediately called a family meeting to criticize the eldest sister-in-law. You need to understand, mom helping you with the child is a favor, not an obligation. It's kind of her to help you. You can't just dump all the housework and childcare on her. When the eldest sister-in-law tried to defend herself, my mother-in-law broke into tears. In the end, she was forced to apologize. I was breastfeeding and developed a blockage from frustration. I asked her, why do you keep putting up with this? 11 years. That's how long she had endured oppression from her husband, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law. If it were me, I would have flipped the house upside down long ago. She gave a bitter smile. Lucas was my teacher. Back in school, I was afraid of him. I suddenly understood. I'm still afraid of my old teachers. But if you were scared of him, why did you marry him? She sighed. I was young and admired his intellect. He'd give me private tutoring just after I graduated. He asked me if I wanted to marry him. So that was it. She had a teacher crush filter. When she admired him, he was practically shining in her eyes. A lofty figure like that proposing? She probably trembled with excitement. I said, the reason you endured for so many years is because you loved him, right? She nodded. I loved him too much. That's why I kept forgiving. But now, I realize, he's not worth it. And to his family, my love means nothing. I asked, so what do you want from me? She lowered her head. He definitely won't agree to a divorce. If I sue him, I don't have money. Then she looked up. My salary card is with him. Chapter 35. Her family lives far away, and she has no one else to turn to. She wouldn't have come to me unless she was truly desperate. I nodded. I'll lend you the money. Tears welled in her eyes. Thank you, Nicole. I swear I'll pay you back. I hesitated for a moment before telling her. But now might not be the right time to file for divorce, because your husband just got in a car accident. She jumped up in shock. What? When? Is it serious? Last night. Pretty bad. They might have to amputate. Before I could finish, she ran out in a panic. I sighed. She still loves him. That night, my husband came home late. He looked exhausted and collapsed onto the couch. Julia had a miscarriage. I was shocked. What happened this time? He explained when the eldest sister-in-law arrived at the hospital. My mother-in-law immediately scolded her, blaming her for the car accident, saying her leaving home caused it, and even yelled at her to get lost. Julia, the younger sister-in-law, got angry. You drove her away. Who's going to take care of Big Brother now? Mom replied. I will. You can't even take care of yourself. You expect to care for him? Well, I won't be his caretaker. Mom snapped back. I don't need you. I'll take him and crash into a car. We can die together. Julia broke down crying. All you ever do is use death to threaten people. You used to threaten Big Brother, now you can't. So you threaten me. Fine. Go die. I don't care anymore. Furious, she drove off and, possibly distracted, got into a serious car accident herself. She suffered a head injury. The treatment required medication that would harm the fetus. But if she delayed treatment until after giving birth, she might become vegetative. In the end, it was the mother-in-law who made the decision to give up the baby and save her daughter. Chapter 36. I let out a sigh and told my husband about sister-in-law borrowing money from me. I said, she's too soft. No wonder they thought they could control me the same way. Too bad they picked the wrong target. My husband said, you're nothing like her. She was already under my brother's thumb before marriage. But you? No one can control you. I nodded. Big Brother used to be a university professor. Sister-in-law was his student, so he had a lot of authority over her. Exactly. To be honest, their issues didn't really need my mom to get involved. Big Brother had full control over her. He just didn't want to say the really harsh things himself so he wouldn't hurt her feelings. I suddenly realized. So he made his mom and sister do the dirty work, while he pretended to be the nice guy. Spot on. But isn't sister-in-law a top student too? How could she not see through that? My husband chuckled. Of course she saw through it, but what could she do? She couldn't out-argue my brother. And professionally, he was her boss's boss. One word from him and she could lose her job. So she had no choice but to give in. I sighed. Now she's finally awakened and wants a divorce. But when she found out Big Brother had that car accident, she went back to take care of him. My husband shook his head. If she's made up her mind to divorce, it's only a matter of time. She's just staying now for peace of conscience. The next day, we went shopping for Lunar New Year supplies. Only 2 days left till New Year's Eve, time to stock up. When we got home, my mother-in-law tagged my husband in the family group chat. Second son. Your brother and sister are both hospitalized and need care. Your sister-in-law and her husband took the day off today, but they have to work tomorrow. You and Nicole go to the hospital. You look after your brother. Nicole takes care of your sister. Chapter 37. My husband didn't reply. I asked, are we going tomorrow? He shook his head. No. He opened the group chat and started a video call. Everyone joined. Big Brother and little sister were lying in hospital beds, but still looked alert. Mother-in-law immediately began crying. I only have you three. Now the eldest and the youngest are both in the hospital. Second son. Mom only has you left to rely on. My husband said flatly. There's something I plan to take to the grave, but after how you've all disappointed me lately, I think it's time to say it out loud. Mother-in-law's face paled. Second son, what are you saying? Wait until your brother and sister are discharged, okay? He replied, if you don't want to hear it, then don't. I'm saying it for your son and daughter. Big Brother scowled. How can you talk to mom like that? She's your mom, not mine. Little sister looked confused. What are you talking about? Second brother? Mother-in-law shouted. I knew it! You just don't want to acknowledge me as your mother. Now that you're grown up, you think you can fly away. Huh? My husband said coldly. You were never my mother to begin with. Why should I acknowledge you? Little sister gasped. Second brother. Are you out of your mind? I'm not. Here's the proof. He pulled out a paternity test. It showed he had no biological relation to mother-in-law. Everyone was stunned. Little sister was the most agitated. But we grew up together. How could you not be mom's son? Did she adopt you? My husband replied. When I was 1, my parents died of food poisoning. My uncle claimed he'd raise me, moved into my house, took over everything my parents owned. Chapter 38. My husband's account uncovered a secret buried for 35 years. His parents were very capable and had saved up quite a bit of money. Unfortunately, they died young. At the time, he was only a year old and obviously couldn't protect the wealth left behind. His uncle adopted him. The uncle's own son, Lucas, was 3 at the time. His aunt, the uncle's wife, pushed her husband to buy a house in the city. So, the uncle sold off Eric's parents' home and took all their savings to purchase a property. The whole family then moved into the city. Later, the aunt gave birth to a daughter, Julia. People in the city thought the 3 kids were siblings by blood. While the uncle was alive, the couple treated Eric decently. But when Eric was 10, the uncle passed away. From then on, the aunt started beating him for minor reasons and often denied him food. After his high school entrance exam, she refused to let him continue his education and told him to get a job to support Lucas and Julia's studies. Eric stood his ground. I want to study. I passed the exam. Why shouldn't I go? His adoptive mother snapped. There's no money in this house. If you want to go to high school, figure it out yourself. So Eric called the police, afraid that he'd find out the money they were living on came from his biological parents. She didn't dare escalate things. Forced into a corner, she agreed to fund his schooling. When they returned, she gathered all 3 children for a family meeting. She cried, complained about how hard it was to raise them all alone, and said she was so ashamed she wanted to die. Lucas and Julia both blamed Eric for making their mother cry. Eric softened, thinking it really was his fault. He apologized and promised never to call the police again. From then on, family meetings became routine. During every school break, as long as Eric was home, he'd be called into the living room to sit in the center and get scolded by his mom and siblings. Though he didn't always give in, he'd always cave when his adoptive mother cried. Chapter 39. After Eric started working, his adoptive mother treated him much better. She constantly apologized for being too strict in the past and asked for forgiveness. She'd always cry as she said it. Eric, soft-hearted, would hand her money. A year ago, Eric and I were introduced on a blind date. He was 34, and I was 30. When I found out it was his first blind date, I was surprised. Your mom never pushed you to date? He shook his head. My dad passed away. My mom never pressured me to get married. Even when his younger sister got married, their mother didn't say a word about Eric's love life. I joked. Are you really her son? Your brother and sister are both married, but she doesn't care about you? He said. Funny you say that. I've actually wondered about my birth. He told me how differently his mom treated him versus Lucas and Julia. I said, honestly, I don't think she's your real mom. So we decided to investigate. But Eric was too busy with work, so I had to look into it on my own. At first, I had no idea where to start. But then his mother conveniently came to our house, pretending she wanted to help take care of me. I observed her closely for months. I noticed she often had video chats and kept calling someone her Laoxiang, someone from the same hometown. That person's accent was clearly different from the city dialect. Coincidentally, one of my college friends had that same accent, so I figured out where her hometown was. I planned to go to the countryside to investigate, but I worried she'd get suspicious. So I tried to persuade her to go live with her older son or younger daughter for a while. She refused, making excuse after excuse, and deliberately created loud noise so I couldn't concentrate on work. Eventually, I lost my temper and told her she wasn't allowed to watch short videos or video call people in her home anymore. Chapter 40. She was addicted to scrolling through short videos if she went without her phone for even a moment. It was like she lost her soul, so she had no choice but to leave. But before she did, she tried to poison me with dumplings. That's when we completely fell out. After kicking her out, I went to the countryside under the pretense of collecting material for work. There, I quickly learned that my real father and mother-in-law were not only capable, but also genuinely kind people. They were among the first to get rich in their village and even helped others prosper. I found their picture in a local government archive, printed in a 30-year-old newspaper praising their contributions. It felt like a treasure. I quickly snapped a photo on my phone. Later, chatting with some elderly villagers, they sighed and said, "What a shame, good people don't live long." That couple died from eating poisonous mushrooms. Yeah, and they knew mushrooms well. How could they have made such a mistake? It's their lazy brother who benefited. Something stirred inside me. Their deaths seemed suspicious. From the villagers, I also learned that Eric's paternal grandparents passed away early. His parents arranged his uncle's marriage. They didn't want his uncle to marry that woman, said she was lazy and scheming, and that she dragged the uncle down. But she got pregnant before marriage and threatened to accuse him of rape if he didn't marry her. To keep their son out of jail, they allowed the marriage. A few years later, Eric's parents were dead. Once I had pieced everything together, I returned home. Not long after, my husband came back on leave. I told him everything. When he saw the photo of his biological parents, his eyes welled with tears. He said, "I have to uncover the truth behind my parents' death." Chapter 41. But 34 years had passed. It wasn't going to be easy. That video call my husband started was a setup to draw out the truth from his adoptive mother. I quietly turned on the screen recording on my phone. He said, "Auntie, I found out my parents didn't die in an accident." His adoptive mother panicked. "It was an accident. They ate poisonous mushrooms. My parents were born and raised there. They foraged mushrooms their whole lives. You think they couldn't tell the difference? You two poisoned them and thought no one would know. But someone did see it from the back mountain. He kept quiet all these years out of loyalty to Uncle. But now he's come forward." The old house had been sold to another villager, but still stood. I had noticed that from the hill behind. One could see straight into the dining room window. Thinking she'd been exposed, the woman panicked. "It wasn't me. It was your uncle who did it." "What poison?" "I mean, poisonous mushrooms." My husband chuckled coldly. "You should turn yourself in," she retorted. "I didn't poison them. It was your uncle." Julia jumped in, yelling, "Eric, my dad's gone now. He made mistakes." "Sure, but my mom raised you. She was your mom for over 30 years. Isn't that enough? Don't you dare try to put her in jail. Don't be so heartless." My husband roared. "Your parents murdered mine, stole everything from my family, and still tried to make me and my wife your damn servants, and now you want to talk to me about conscience?" Julia shouted. "Servants? What are you talking about? My mom taught us to love each other and help one another." Chapter 42. My husband let out a cold laugh. "She always wanted me to help you, but she never told you to help me. When you two just became adults, she was already worried about your love lives, pulling strings everywhere to find you matches. Your brother is 3 years older than me, his kid is already 11. You're 8 years younger than me, and you're already married. Did she ever care about my marriage? She never wanted me to get married. I didn't get a wife until I was 35. And now your mom keeps coming up with ways to drive my wife away, trying to force me into being a lifelong bachelor. Why? Because she sees I earn good money as long as I don't marry or have children. She thinks my money will eventually go to your children. And you're still jealous? Thinking she's biased in my favor? She's just lazy and doesn't want to serve you two anymore. And she wants to use underhanded tricks to force my wife to leave. To you, she's a good mother. But to me, she's a damn demon." Julia snapped back. "Even if she's wrong, she's still your aunt. She raised you from the time you were 1. I cut her off. "Julia, do you know why you and your brother ended up in car accidents? Because your parents committed murder. Their hands are stained with 2 lives. Your mom even dared to swear on it, and karma came straight back at you. And you still have the audacity to blame Eric? If you want to blame someone, blame your father. He married a wicked woman, and the curse has haunted your whole family. You guys, worse things are coming. Just wait." We exited the video call and went straight to the police station. I had recorded the whole conversation. The aunt admitted to the poisoning, even if it was her husband who actually did it. She's still guilty of covering up a crime. Chapter 43. She was arrested. During interrogation, she confessed. After they got married, She and her husband were lazy and greedy. They lived in poverty. But Eric's brother and his wife had a thriving household, built a 3-story home and often deposited money at the bank. They were overwhelmed with envy and hatred. So they conspired to kill for money. One day, she saw her sister-in-law foraging mushrooms. She immediately told her husband to go out and pick a bunch of poisonous ones. She squeezed the juice from the toxic mushrooms and had her husband secretly mix it with the edible mushrooms her sister-in-law had stir-fried. That night, the brother and his wife ate the dish, along with alcohol, and passed out. Then the husband smothered them. To avoid suspicion, the aunt cooked a separate batch of poisonous mushrooms and mixed it with the original dish. The next day, her husband cried out that the couple had eaten poisonous mushrooms and died. 34 years ago, there were no security cameras in the countryside. Everyone believed it was an accident. No one called the police. Some had doubts privately, but since they weren't family, no one looked deeper. The police asked, "You killed the parents, why didn't you hurt the child?" After all, smothering a 1-year-old isn't difficult. She answered, "The kid was at his maternal grandma's house. We didn't get the chance." I shuddered and told my husband, "Your grandmother saved your life back then." He nodded. "Yeah, they couldn't kill me right away. After that, they didn't dare." I realized, if anything happened to you, everyone would have suspected murder for inheritance. Eric's uncle was the main perpetrator. His aunt was an accomplice. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Who knows if she'll live to get out. My husband also hired a lawyer to sue her for the misappropriated inheritance and claim civil compensation. Chapter 44. Her assets were frozen. She had one house and 200,000 yuan in savings. In the end, it was all compensated to my husband. After Lucas was discharged from the hospital, his wife filed for divorce. Lucas also knew he couldn't make her stay, so he signed the papers with resignation. His wife took their daughter with her. Julia, seeing that her brother was left alone, moved in to take care of him, but this stirred discontent with her in-laws, and her husband divorced her too. After the car accident, she had her pregnancy terminated, and the doctor said she could no longer have children. This news spread among her husband's family, and no man wanted to marry her anymore. From that point on, only the two siblings had each other to rely on. It's true, when you harm others, you don't just hurt yourself, but you curse your future generations too. My husband and I went to visit the grave of his biological parents. He knelt down and, as soon as he whispered, "Dad, Mom," he broke down in tears. I held him and said to his parents, "Dad, Mom, we've avenged your deaths. Eric and I will live a happy life. Please rest in peace." The wildflowers on the grave nodded gently in the breeze, as if sending their blessing from beyond. We also visited his grandmother's grave. My husband said, "I vaguely remember Grandma when I was 3 or 4 in the countryside. She used to visit me often. After we moved into the city, I never saw her again. Maybe that's why my uncle didn't dare mistreat me back then. He was afraid she'd come." We found out that his grandmother passed away the year before his uncle died. All these years, this was the first time he came to visit her grave. His eyes welled up with tears again. I thought, if Grandma's spirit is watching from the heavens, she must be proud of how much her grandson has grown.